Harry Maguire saves it for Manchester United in a 3-3 draw. Join me now for Manchester United, the D Unit's view. Look, Harry Maguire literally saved Erik ten Hag for maybe one more game. Well, maybe he was going to get one more game anyway. But he literally just papered over so many cracks in this game. It was pure Ten Hag magic. Now, I'm just going to lead off with a very interesting stat for you all out there. Manchester United under Erik ten Hag, more than any of the previous managers since Fergie, obviously, because Fergie obviously had a lot of these in his time, but he has now had 25 games where the team has conceded 3 or more goals. I'll just leave that with people there. Just a really interesting stat for everyone. And look, this game was this is Ten Hag ball. If anyone wants to know what Erik ten Hag's style of football is, all we have to do is watch this game. Because this is what it is. It is pure, unadulterated, magical chaos. That's the best way of describing his kind of football. Look, United, it's really interesting as well because there were some positives in this game, but then the positives were sort of counterweighed. It's really interesting. The Erik ten Hag and the United players were behind locked doors for a considerable amount of time post-game, suggesting not all is well in the camp. And then when Harry Maguire talked and then Erik ten Hag talked, Erik ten Hag was like, I'm just going to come out and address it right now. Erik ten Hag sounds like a defeatist at the moment. He said, don't judge us now, judge us at the end of the season. Well, when you start talking like that, you know your shit. Pretty much, your coffin's almost been nailed shut. I don't know. I just felt that was just a really poorly chosen bunch of words, really. It just, summed it up, really. But look, this is Ten Hag football. It's chaos. And we've seen it on the weekend, but United didn't score on the weekend. And, they started quite well. Again, Marcus Rashford, one thing that he is very good at, we saw the best and worst of Marcus Rashford here, but I don't think it's helped by the fact that Dalot is no good as left back. If he hasn't figured it out by now and doesn't come up with a solution, there is a solution in the academy. If he is not built physically enough for Ten Hag or whatever, the dude, just play him there. He is a left back. Harry, a mass mate. Play him at left back. Dalot is not a left back. He consistently keeps on getting caught out of position or just doesn't seem to know the position anywhere near as well as he does at right back. I think he has to go back to right back, and either you swap Mazraoui into left back if you can't be bothered putting a mass in and trusting him, because I think I've seen enough of Dalot at left back, and if Marcus Rashford's playing and he's playing on the left, and you know that he's not going to track back, Marcus Rashford is all about being direct, front foot, give him the ball, let him run it at players. He looks like he's got confidence. He scored, he got an assist, and then he gets hooked at halftime. So we're just going to quickly address that before we get into the actual game. So Erik ten Hag has come out after the final whistle during his press conference, and when asked about Rashford, basically said that he just didn't answer the question. He basically confirmed it was, a rotation. That was what he put it down to. It was a rotation decision. Well, why the hell can't Marcus Rashford play more than 45 minutes? Is beyond my... I just don't buy the rotation thing. Just come out and say it was tactical. You didn't like the fact he wasn't tracking back, because you're having us on as fans if you think that we're going to believe that's for rotation. I mean, pull the other one out, mate. It's just laughable, the fact that he thinks that people are going to buy the fact that it's not rotation. It was purely tactical. He didn't like his working, or something happened at halftime and he said something about tracking back, and he was like, nah, mate, I just scored a goal and got an assist, and you're hooking him off for 45 minutes. I don't know. I just thought it was a dumb decision, and I didn't like the reasoning behind it either. And if you've got a goal and an assist, we all know that Marcus Rashford does not track back. He hasn't tracked back since I can remember. He doesn't really press either, but it's like when Fergie used to play Ronaldo and Rooney. Rooney did all the work. He was a selfless player, Rooney, and he did all the work that Ronaldo didn't. But that allowed Ronaldo to just be brilliant and score goals and assists. Rashford, don't get me wrong, is nowhere near Ronaldo's level, but he is the only person in the team that can potentially deliver those kind of attacking returns consistently week on week. And when he's in form, which clearly he is at the moment, I think you just got to play him and you just sacrifice one of the other members of your squad does the work that he can't do. And we'll get to the team selection in a minute. But look, this game had it all. So we took the lead, we went 2 goals up, and then all of a sudden the failings were there for everyone to see. The defending went out the window. In fact, it was the poorest I've seen that back four play together all season. Like, it was worse than the Tottenham game. It was 100% worse. I mean, like the first goal, Mazraoui sort of like got 2 on him and he sort of heads it at Onana. It would have been an own goal, an emphatic own goal. But Onana saved it. But then the follow-up, Martinez just wasn't really switched on and got beaten to it, and that was one. And then De Ligt gets beaten again. Some could say easily, but he was already in front of the defender, so I won't buy it on that one for the second goal. And then after half-time, we saw it again. Manchester United just don't start halves well under Ten Hag. I actually don't know why that is. It makes no sense. You would think that you would go out, you would have he always talks about the process and the plan. Well, you would think that the plan would be don't concede in the first 5 minutes. So we saw it in both halves against Tottenham and we saw it in the second half against Porto. Again, just sloppy defending. Dalot caught out again on the left-hand side. The cross comes in and then Samu, who looked like a world beater, I think he's actually really old, but he gave De Ligt in particularly a real torrid game, and Martinez just kept on getting caught out of position. And yeah, look, he ended up scoring again, and it was 3-2. And then Porto, thankfully, decided that they were going to shut up shop, because when Bruno Fernandes eventually got booked the second time, and he didn't make contact with the face, but look, it was a high foot, and like he already got booked in the first half for a high foot. So, like if anything, the referee was consistent, and he will now definitely miss a game, because look, his ban from the weekend has been overturned. Man United appealed it, which I always said it didn't look like a red card. So now Bruno Fernandes will be playing against Villa on Sunday. He definitely looks like a player that needs a rest. I'm not sure what's going on there, but it's just not happening for him, and I don't know if that's leading to some of the other problems that we're going to discuss in this team. So, look, Harry Maguire, fantastic late header, did a really good job of saving a point. But look, it shouldn't come down to this. That Porto aren't going well in the Portuguese league. They've had turmoil themselves, and Man United roll up and they put 3 past us, and we score 3, and yet we somehow don't win. It's a familiar theme in Europe. Manchester United, get this for a stat, have only won 1 of their last 10 European games. And in the meantime, during those 10 games, we've scored a shitload of goals. We've scored over 3 goals or more numerous times, but we've only managed to get 1 win. That just says it all. Ten Hag's football in Europe is so bad. So everyone always used to rave about, that Ajax team that got to the semi-finals and lost to Tottenham and were so close to making it to the final that season. Well, they forget to mention the other 2 seasons where Ten Hag's teams went out in the group stage. And other than his first season where they went on a really good Europa League run, and then, De Gea sort of cost them a chance at making the final that season. But other than that, they have been shithouse in Europe under Ten Hag. And it's just a continuation of what happened at Ajax, really. He only had the 1 good season in Europe, and we shouldn't really be acting surprised at this point. I think that the tide has definitely turned. If he survives post the international break and we don't lose at Villa on Sunday, I will be absolutely gobsmacked. Because I just can't see how United are defending the last couple of games and going to Aston Villa, who have been creating huge amounts of chances. And let's not forget, they actually just beat Bayern Munich at home, which we definitely didn't do last season, in the Champions League. So look, Villa are up and about. They're in good form, and I'm scared of what the result could be on Sunday. But at this point, I just think that it's inevitable that Ten Hag is going to be sacked. I think it's purely just a matter of when. And like, there'll be the camp that says the Ten Hag in and Ten Hag out. Well, look, the team that started tonight, bar Rashford and Dalot and Fernandez, were all Ten Hag signings. All Ten Hag signings. The blokes that came off the bench, I'm just checking who came on off the bench again. So Johnny Evans came on, and so did Harry Maguire, Garnacho, Xerxes, and I think there was one more, and Anthony. So look, two of his signings that also came on the field in the second half. So we can't sit here and say it's not Ten Hag's team. And that's the second game in a row where you just got to sit there and wonder. Like, I get up at 3 a.m. to watch this, living in Western Australia, and I tell you what, I could do with the sleep. Like, particularly this weekend, I could have done with the extra sleep today, but instead I watched that, and like, you know, you always wake up with a hope. Being a fan, you're always hoping for the best. That's why I do it. Otherwise, why would we put ourselves through this absolute misery that we're going through, what feels like for the last 18 months? And like, I've seen enough, like, to be honest with you. I just think that we've just been so poor of late. It's now no win in the last 4 games. So obviously post the Barnsley win, we had the Crystal Palace draw, the FC20 draw, then the Tottenham loss, now another draw against Porto. Well, lucky this game wasn't a loss, to be fair. Porto should have made it 4-2 when we went down to 10 men, but they just missed an absolute... Well, Anana kept us in it, really. But, yeah, I don't know. I just think he has to go at this point. And, look, let's discuss the lineup. So I'm going to share my screen now. So if you're watching along on audio... yeah, hopefully you'll be able to keep track, but I will be talking through some of the stats. So I'm just going to quickly flick to here. So now we can see the stats. So look, head-to-head, both goalkeepers made 5 saves. Tackles are pretty even, 15 to Porto, 18 United. Jules won, 50-43. Yellow cards, ironically, there was only 1 yellow card for Porto. That makes no sense. I don't understand what's going on there, because that is not right. Bruno was shown 2 yellows, so I don't know why those stats are wrong on the Man United website, but there you go. Now, this is where it gets a little bit interesting. So there was 24 chances created by United, 10 by Porto, 14 total shots for Porto, 29 for United. So we had a lot of shots. This is where the shots get a little bit, watered down a little bit. So shots in the box were 12 to Porto, 16 to United, which is a much more accurate representation, because we had a lot of shots from outside the box today that went into the stands. So there was 13 shots from outside the box for us and only 2 for Porto. So, it was pretty even in that sense. And there were 3 goals for each. 53% possession. So we shaded the possession, even though we finished the game the last 10 minutes with 10 men. But that's because Porto conceded control. They did what FC20 did, which allowed us to, not lose that game, I thought, at Old Trafford the other night. They just sat back. And the same thing happened here when Porto were holding on to the 3-2 win. They literally conceded all the possession. So the passes completed, we have 434 to Porto's 352. Now, Rasmus Højlund, he had 6 touches in the opposition box for 2 shots and 1 goal. So, as I said, those 2 goals for United were lucky. Like the first 2, they went in at the near post, and really the goalkeeper should have saved both of them. He got a hand to both. It was just poor goalkeeping more than anything else. Garnacho did really well when he came on. He didn't stop running all game. But look, he had no end product again. He had 8 shots, 2 on target, 33 touches, but he didn't score. No end product again, which is disappointing there. Harry Maguire, probably man of the match considering when he came on. So he came on in the 78th minute, and yeah, he won 2 duels, made 16 passes, and he got the equaliser. So, that was really good. So moving up to the top here, these are the changes he made from Sunday. So the back 4 started exactly the same, and I was kind of surprised by that. I thought that Harry Maguire might have come in for De Ligt like he did for the FC20 game, but no, he didn't. And we'll get to the second half and the subs that were made, because that was interesting in and of itself. So the midfield completely changed. So Maino wasn't fit enough to even make the squad for this game. Hopefully he'll be right for Sunday, because I tell you what, he's probably going to be needed. So Eriksen came in for him, and Casemiro came in for Ugarte. Now, Ugarte stayed on the bench the whole game. I just double checking that he actually was on the bench, not just making that up. So yeah, he started on the bench and didn't come on the whole game. It was almost like Ten Hag was like, well, you were crap against Tottenham, so I'm going to go to Casemiro and see how he goes. Ahmad came back in on the right, and then obviously Garnacho dropped to the bench, which I thought was good because I just don't think that you can have, as I said before, I don't think you can play Garnacho and Rashford in the same team unless one of them's playing up top, because then your team's just way open, and we saw what happened at Tottenham on the weekend, so I don't want to see us revisit that anytime soon. Bruno Fernandes started in his normal position. In fact, I was actually counting how many times he gave the ball away, and like the first 5-10 minutes or whatever weren't flash again. He gave away a ball. He's just not playing well. Let's just say it for what it is. He is out of form. He actually needs a rest. He'll probably go to Portugal and do really well. I don't know. I'm concerned about his form for United. It's not good, and it's not helping the team at this particular moment in time. And then obviously Rashford was on the left, and they made the change. Xerxes dropped to the bench in this game, and Rasmus Højlund obviously started his first game, got his first goal for the season as well, and he looked promising. Like he's the different striker to Xerxes. He doesn't touch the ball anywhere near as much, but his runs are different, and you would have to say that his shot was lucky to go in, but he did hit it hard, and he hit it well. So that he hit it with a lot more conviction than we've seen Xerxes shoot with in any of the games he's started. So look, that's how the game started. I was surprised with the midfield. And I don't know if that related to the lack of control, but if you're Ineos and you're looking at this game and you're going, well, we've just spent 50 odd million on Ugarte, and, and then you don't bring him on at all. I don't know. I really struggled to understand. And then they're probably also sitting there like us wondering, why the hell was Rashford taken off at half-time when he scored and assisted? I mean, yeah, I've already covered that, so I'm not going to rehash that again. Some of the subs actually made sense. So the Garnacho one coming on for Rashford didn't make any sense at the time, but, that was a logical sub. I thought he might have come on for Rashford slightly more into the half, but he didn't. So Xerxes came on for Højlund, which was not a surprise. Højlund lasted 68 minutes, and then obviously, he is fresh off coming back. So it's not a surprise that he was taken off, probably to make sure he doesn't do another hamstring, which would be advisable. But the interesting thing was there was no Eriksen and Casemiro played the whole 90 minutes, which was interesting. I thought Ugarte might have come on for Casemiro, but no, he didn't. And then my boy, the GOAT, Anthony, he eventually came on in the 69th minute as well to try and change the game. I don't think he did. I can't actually remember Anthony doing much at all other than like playing a couple of 5-meter passes. I don't know what his stats were for the game, but he was pretty anonymous, and just goes to show why he's nowhere near the starting lineup normally. He came on for Ahmad. So yeah, Ahmad didn't have the best game actually. It was quite... He was neat and tidy, but he didn't really do much, and his tracking back today was pretty non-existent as well. So, look, that was disappointing. But the two real interesting subs were he took off both the central defenders, which might suggest that he wasn't happy with the way we defended. So, Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans both came on a minute apart. I think they actually came on at the same time, but one came off in the 78th and one came on in the 79th. But they came on for Martinez and De Ligt, and it wasn't a surprise. I mean, the defense were poor. Those two particularly, didn't have a very good game. I actually don't know if the Martinez-De Ligt chemistry or the dovetailing on their partnership is actually any good. I actually do not know. So that might be the reason why he changed it. I'm not sure. Maybe he does. I wouldn't be surprised if Maguire starts against Villa, because that dude always gives his all. And Ten Hag is in, I would say, the very last chance saloon, and he needs all the help that he can bloody well get at the moment. So, yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all. Now, I'm just going to pull up some interesting stats for you. So, I've done some little research. So, this is from Footy Stats. And look, this season, our average points per game is 1.33. Win percentage is 33%. Expected goals, or our goals, A 1.78, which is ironic. I don't know where that... Oh, that's because we scored against Southampton, didn't we? So that's where that comes from. And then our conceded goals is 1.33. Oh, actually, no, this is overall, the whole stats. What am I on about? So it's a lot less than that because it's actually the opposite in the league. So the Premier League is, nowhere near as good because our points per game there is 1.17. So there you go. But just interesting to note, like, this season's stats are just not very good. Like, we're not scoring many goals. If we take that Barnsley game out of what we've done, I think we're actually conceding more goals than we're scoring, which, isn't very good. And I just want to point into the fact that, the changes. So if we look at the first season under Ten Hag, so if we go down here, and I might blow this up a little bit, so if you are watching along, you can see what I'm talking about, because it'll be a bit hard to otherwise. Oh, one too many. All right, so in 2002-2003, Erik ten Hag managed the whole season in the Premier League. He won 23 games, drew 6, lost 9. He had a points per game of 1.97. So in the Europa League that season, which was the last time we actually did something half decent in Europe, we played 12 games, won 8, drew 2, lost 2. Points per game was 2.17 in there. Now the League Cup, we obviously won it, so we won all 6 games. In the FA Cup, we did all right. I think we had a good run there. We had 4 wins, 1 draw and 1 loss. That's right, we lost the final, didn't we, to Man City. I was like, that makes a bit more sense now. So look, the first season, those are the stats. And that's when Ten Hag was playing more pragmatic football. We didn't see this chaos ball that started in season 2. Now, if we go to season 2, it's a stark contrast. So the Premier League, we go from 1.97 points per game down to 1.58. That's a significant drop, almost a 0.4 drop per game. It's insane. So we've gone from 23 wins to 18, 6 draws still, but we've gone from 9 losses to 14 in his second season. So significant drop off. The League Cup, obviously, we got bounced out in the second game by Newcastle. The Champions League, as you can see there, that's our 1 win in the last 10 in Europe. But we got 0.67 points per game in that, and we lost 4 out of 6 games. And then obviously we won the FA Cup, so we take that one in. And then we go to this season, the stats are even more damning. So he's down to 1.17 points per game. I would argue that is about to drop even further, because if we take anything more than a point on Sunday, it will be a miracle. Let's not have any two ways about it. Aston Villa at the moment are in brilliant form. Absolutely brilliant form. They are fresh off the 1-0 win against Bayern Munich at home in the Champions League. They did draw 2-2 away to Ipswich on the weekend, and Ipswich did have a significant number of shots. And I do believe Manchester United will have their opportunities on Sunday. I just think that it's impossible to see any scenario where our midfield just doesn't get torn apart with the way we're playing. Like, it actually looks like Ten Hag doesn't know who to play, but it seems like he's adamant in playing the same system, and the same system just gets exposed so easily. I obviously read and digest a lot of content in between games and stuff. And I just thought that the interesting fact was that, on the weekend, you can see Bruno Fernandes arguing teammates or telling them where to go after 5 minutes. Like, you would think in the first 5 minutes, the plan would be clear cut, clear set, like what you're meant to do, what your role is in the team. It's like they're just not coached, or like they're coached something, and then as soon as they get out in the field, it's like it changes. I actually don't know. I'm not sure what the problem is, but there's a clear lack of understanding as to what the plan is, or if there is a plan, or maybe the plan is to play some basketball type of game and hope that your players score. But the problem is our players aren't clinical enough, and we don't have that centre forward that just converts chances like Erling Haaland does for City. And if that's your whole game plan and it's not working, well, what can you really expect at the end of the day? I'm not too sure. Bruno Fernandes here, again, he got sent off. Again, it's quite unlucky. There's no rescinding this one, though. 2 yellows you can't rescind. That's the end. That's the end for him. That's it. He's definitely missing the next game. And that will be against Fenerbahce and Jose Mourinho after the international break. So, look, the games don't get any easier. And I suppose the key thing here is now to look at Erik ten Hag's future. And is there a world where he survives to that game? Or maybe that is his last game, and then because United's run does change, fixture run does change for the easier. And if you were going to get a new manager, and you obviously wouldn't do it before Sunday because Villa away is going to be a hard game. So the best time to do it, you would think the best time to do it would be at an international break. Now, did Ineos give him till the November international break to do it? To turn it around? To prove that he's capable? I mean, there's arguments for and against this, but my argument is the fact that if you allow it to go on to the international break, and I've just broken down the points per game this season and how poorly we've been. I mean, look, the first game after the international break is at Brentford at home, and we all know that how close Brentford were to beating us last season until the Scott McTominay masterclass came along and saved us literally at the death. And it'd also be really quite tricky when Ineos also were interested in Thomas Frank, who manages Brentford. It'd be interesting if Brentford came and actually did us. It would almost become completely untenable. I still think it's quite untenable now. I think it is literally just a matter of time. There's only so many times you can expect the players and the team to go out and do the same thing. We almost know what's going to come. We know that we're going to get this chaos. There's no... I actually thought the Crystal Palace game and the game we actually won, Southampton, actually sort of clouded my judgment a little bit because it actually looked like we were a team that were looking like they knew how to defend again. And then the last few games, that's completely gone out the window. I mean, once FC20 came to Old Trafford and started bossing it around like they were top 4 Premier League side rather than playing in the Dutch League, that should send alarm bells ringing for anyone. So look, it's just hard to see a world where he survives. Let me know in the comments how long you think he's got. How long do you think Erik ten Hag has left? Has he just got this Sunday's game, which is what I think it should be? I don't know. I'd actually like to see Ruud van Nistelrooy take over. Because the players have raved about him during the summer, about his work behind the scenes, about the ideas and stuff he's bringing to the thing. I'd just like to see him give a go. And he showed so much passion today. He got booked after the second goal went in because, he wasn't happy. He was showing passion about what this club used to be about. And I just think that, I don't know, I'm not sure Ten Hag is doing it anymore. I just think that, he probably needs to... Yeah, I don't know. I'm at a loss. That's it. I'm just rambling now. So, look, I think Villa away, I'm not sure what system he needs to go. I think maybe he needs to go a compact system. I would even consider playing Rashford up top and then playing a 4-3-3, a proper 4-3-3 or something, like Rashford up the top. He's going to start Bruno. So, Bruno and then Ahmad, I really don't know. But he needs to make sure that midfield is not easy to pass through because that Villa team will pass through it and Ollie Watkins will be on one. And that dude has had more big chances created for him than Erling Haaland. And I tell you what, if Man United were back to their ways in the Premier League last week of conceding 20 shots, if they concede 20-odd shots at Villa, we're going to get absolutely pantsed. And it's not going to be pretty. And it definitely will be the end then. So look, hopefully, I'm not sure what to make of today. I'm feeling a bit mixed. Harry Maguire definitely saved it, so I feel better than it being a loss. So that's a positive. But, at the end of the day, it's still not good enough. And we can't, as fans and as supporters, we can't afford to let our expectations drop. And that's what it's down to now. We're sitting there thinking that, this is a good result. It's not a good result. We've played FC20 in Porto in the Europa League. This is the Europa League. It's not even the Champions League, and we haven't won. That says it all, really. I'll leave you with that. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will join you after Sunday's result with the boys as we break down the Aston Villa game. Make sure you join us for that. That's the D in and out.